My name is Sergio Bilic. I will be the host of this second round of pitching. I'm a serial entrepreneur myself, investor. I'm also a podcast host, which focuses on Romanian tech success stories called Neascultătorii, or the Disobedience. I would like to, before we start, I would like to meet everybody. Before we do that, I would like to say thanks to our sponsors that are sponsoring this year's 75,000 euro prize for startup Avalanche. So thank you, Fortech and Roca X, a Romanian fund which is actually sponsoring Startup Avalanche for the second year in a row. So thank you, guys. I would like to also tell you, judges, a few things. So when the pitches are happening, if you want to see the bigger slide, you just double click the slide to see it larger. Don't keep your cursor on the screen, because Hopin has some like an overlay, and you won't understand why that is happening. So don't keep your you can also minimize the chat from the top right if you'd like. I told you about the mute. And yeah, we're going to have like 5 minutes pitching and 5 minutes Q&A. We're a bit flexible with it, so you, please ask some questions if you like, for the startups. So now that we are all here, I would like to also, if you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand, and I will say your name, so that we don't, get a lot of loud stuff going on. Also, yeah. So first and foremost, because we're all here, I would like to ask you guys to present yourselves. Tell us in a 30-second elevator pitch, who are you, what you are doing, so that everybody gets to know you. Let's start with Brett.
Y'all, Brett Martin here. Work at Charge. We're a New York-based pre-seed firm. We like to be the first check into a company, usually writing about $250,000 to $300,000 checks into sub-million-dollar rounds to great entrepreneurs, literally with a back-of-the-envelope plan.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett. Abdullah.
Hey everyone, Abdullah Shah, founder and CEO at Phase Ventures. We do early stage, predominantly seed investments into energy tech, logistics. More recently, we're interested in fintech and reg tech as well. And we're based out of Oman, so we're Middle East based.
Great, thank you, Abdullah. Trang.
Everyone, I'm Trang Nguyen. I'm the co-founder of TI Platform Management, which is an investment firm. We anchor and seed many accelerators and studio ventures and seed platforms. We also, invest in companies across all stage from seed to Series B and C. But majority of our investment have been in Series B and C. And I would like to say that our focus is more on the fintech and health tech. We like to back, amazing founders that, doing something fantastic.
Thank you so much. David?
Yeah, hi, I'm David. I'm an entrepreneur. Recently sold my company in the security and privacy space. And now I'm investing towards and look at companies that are creating a real social impact as well as financial returns. Companies that are looking to solve important problems for society.
Congrats for your exit, and thanks for sharing, David. Nico?
Hi, I'm Nico Bonatzis. I'm a managing director at General Catalyst Partners. We are a multi-state firm investing in ridiculously ambitious founders who are learning animals and are doing great things for the world. Excited to be here.
Awesome, great to have you here. David, please mute your microphone. We get a bit of great. So thanks a lot, everybody, and welcome to our second session of pitching. Thanks a lot. So we have great investors here. We have great startups waiting to present. Some of them are on some crazy time zones, like Australia, where it's 3 a.m. But they are hanging in there, and I'm sure you will see some amazing projects. So without anything to add, I would like to introduce our first startup that is from Switzerland, and they are providing a smart modular industrial packaging solution, which is quite amazing. And to present their startup, I would like to introduce Masood, who is the CTO and co-founder of Ponera. So I would like to invite him to join us. And by the way, from time to time, we have these little delays. It's a virtual event. You know, things are happening. You know how it is, guys. Masood, welcome. You can start sharing your screen, and we can't wait to hear your story. Good luck.
Sure. Perfect. I think you can see my screen now, right?
Yes, great.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the introduction. And hi, everyone, to the jury. I'm Masood from Ponera Group based in Switzerland. And right here, right now, I want to introduce you to the future of pallets. When we hear about pallets, usually this is what we think of. Here in Europe, we think of Euro pallet. In the US, it is US pallet, and in Asia, it's Asian pallet. Even though there are several standard sizes, they are circulating all around the world and going from one hand to the other. What we know less about are the customized size pallets. They are used for goods with specific sizes that do not fit on a standard size pallets, industrial machines such as turbines or automotive parts, or even furniture. These pallets are up to 4 times more expensive per square meter compared to new standard size pallets. This is because of high procurement efforts, batch production, and often they require higher strength compared to standard size pallets. Even though being so expensive, they're single use. This is because first, it is impossible to repurpose them and use for other goods. And second, it is too expensive to get them back and use it for another shipment of the same goods, which results in waste of $8.7 billion of such pallets per year. This was the pain that my co-founder, Matthew, felt while working in that industry. After finishing his master's at EPFL in mechanical engineering and working in lead investment banks for a few years in Switzerland, he started working in global strategy in operation and logistics of a company that is working with customized size pallets on a daily basis. To solve this problem, he went to his long-lasting friend and that he met during his studies, Masood. During this time, I was doing my PhD in chemical engineering with the focus on production of biopolymers from renewable sources. Together, we came up with a solution for this problem, the Lego of pallets, where different pieces can attach and detach as easy as working with Lego. Modules with different sizes can attach to each other to create any defined surface area, and they are also designed towards maximizing the efficiency of the whole process. These biopolymer-based pallets are 50% lighter compared to the wood pallets. That results in less fuel consumption during transport. Our modules are twice as strong and can last a dramatically longer time. Even at the end of their lifetime, they are fully recyclable, which offers a high degree of sustainability. This solution can decrease the total cost of ownership on packaging material up to 90% for our clients. Instead of buying the expensive wood pallets for each single shipment, they can purchase our modules once and use it over and over. And one more important point. Did you know that every year, about 75 million hectares of wood is used for production of wood pallets? This corresponds to approximately 1/3 of the global wood production. Our solution can result in saving up to 30% of the global wood production on a yearly basis. And this is not all about the future of the pallets. The concept of modularity, reusability, and extended lifetime enables the implementation of a universal IoT system in this market, where IoT sensors such as traceability, temperature, humidity, or even shock sensors can be used effectively. This helps us to solve a bigger problem in this heterogeneous market with 2 different types of products. Our vision is to establish a new standard in this market where our modules can be used for both standard size and customized size use cases. The next milestone on our journey is the industrial pilots that are confirmed with 3 of our potential clients starting in December 2020, one of them being a multi-billion Swiss company and another one, a major wood pallet producer in the region. To achieve our ambitious goals, we are an ambitious team with the guidance of our strong advisory board and the support of the startup ecosystem in Switzerland and Europe. We recently closed the pre-seed round and raised about €500,000 that will take us throughout our next milestone. What we are planning to commercialize our product next year, for which we are looking to raise 3 million by spring 2021. With this, I would like to finish my talk and look forward to talking to you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Masood. Who wants to have the first question? Raise of hands. Brett?
Can you explain how the reverse logistics work for your pallet? How do you envision the pallet getting back?
So for the reverse logistics, in long term, what we see, it's mainly of a sharing economy, where these pallets, they will be used not only by only one company, but it can be used by different parties. For example, I know we are transporting something from Switzerland to China, and that pallet can go from one hand to the other hand to another company, to a second company, and they can use it. In that case, we have the owner, Ponera Group has the ownership of the pallets, and it's based on a renting model. We rent these modules to different companies. For the pilot program, it's a little bit different, where with the companies that we are working, they have their own, they take care of the reverse logistic themselves. And normally it's like, for example, the big company that I mentioned, they have, for example, a site in Europe, another site in United States, production site. So they send a shipment from Europe to US, and there they can use the same pallets for shipping something and other goods from US back to Europe. I don't know if it answers.
Abdullah?
Thanks. Can you tell us a bit more about are they paid pilots and spoke to the pilot?
So for the pilots that we are going to do is that we are doing the pilots with some objectives in terms of confirming and assumptions that we had during the designing of these pallets, this modular system, and there we have different operations, different streams of goods, and there what is important for us to check the convenience of the product, how fast is the assembly and how is it to be used, and also to check how we can enter the market based on that. And the other things is about like durability of the modules and what are the savings in terms of the costs and also carbon footprints for that. I don't know. Do you want more details or something? If you want to know something specific, I can answer.
Is it paid pilots or are these?
It's paid pilot. Yes, they are paid. They are paid pilots. Sorry, I missed the word paid pilots. Sorry.
Nico?
Can you walk us through your vision and how this can become a really big business that changes the industry?
Yes, sure. So the fact is that from financial perspective, for example, for our clients, we have what we can do is that we can really reduce, as I mentioned during the pitch, and in our vision, it's for us is to go more towards a circular economy in the market, where these modules, as we ability on them, these modules, they can circulate around the world, and we will take care of the management of the flows. And as I mentioned, that we will be owning these modules and renting them to different clients that they can use it. And based on that, in our long-term vision, we want to transform the business into more of a data-driven services, where we can optimize the flows for all the clients globally. And this is more in the context of a concept called physical internet, where there is huge effort on bringing the principles of like digital internet into the logistics world. And for that reason, also, we have two of the founding fathers of physical internet on our advisor board. They are helping us to work in line with that concept, where we have to have the the connectivity between different parts of the logistic network, for example, vehicles or containers, and also the modules, or as they call it, like the boxes that they can be there. So we can have the connectivity there. And in general, what will be there is like, when you want nowadays, for example, when you want to send a shipment from A to B, you have to pay for the route, the whole route that is going from A to B. But in the context of the physical internet, is that you just announce like batches of digital internet. You want to announce from A to B, it goes, and then by the system, it's optimized to go through the best route. This is the ultimate goal that we have.
I also have a question.
Sure.
David, go ahead.
Hi, Masood.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you, what is the defensibility of the technology? Would it be hard for some of your customers or competitors to do the same thing?
Sure. So initially, first of all, we have two utility patents, like patent applications. It's PCT now, and for initially to start with. But as mentioned, we want to have it really as a standard. So what we can work on is that we can have this standard. We can license production of these modules, and like for different places in the world. But our main goal is to work on the platform that we will have for the IoT services. So this is the advantage we will have compared to the competitors.
Trang?
Hi, Maso. So you mentioned that you had 3 paid pilots. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
So you mentioned that you had 3 paid pilots. How long will that take for you to deploy that? And, what do you see as your kind of like revenue stream with the 3 paid pilots? Where does that take you to?
So, okay. So for the duration of the pilots are about 3 months, 3 to 4 months pilots. And in general, the type of the companies that we are dealing with as a B2B business for the moment, the type of companies we work with, how it works is that first they would like to have, especially as it's a new product, first they would like to have a pilot, and then afterward they want to go with a smaller batch, and then they would like to have like a bigger contract. In this way, they can integrate the new product into their operations, and that is our goal actually. Like in the objectives of the pilot that we discussed with our clients, is the goal is to convert to a contract after the pilot, to convert it to a contract in terms of providing volumes of modules for them.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Masood. That's all the time we have. I loved the Lego of pallets. I was hoping you would say Lego of pallets. So thank you so much. We will see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Bye bye.
Have a great day. Ciao.
Great. So for our next startup, that is coming from Australia, and as I said, because we're live, it's almost 4 a.m. in Australia. So I don't know if you've been pitched at 4 a.m. before, but here it is. They have an award-winning technology. It was founded in 2016, and their ambition is to help change the lives of the 2 billion unbanked last-mile communities worldwide. And Angus, the founder and COO of AG Unity, who will present, told us that as a young man, he once flew over Africa in a gyrocopter. That sounds so cool. It's so you're an adventure spirit, Angus. Please prepare your slides. Welcome. Start whenever you feel like it.
Thank you. This €30 Unity phone will enable a smallholder farmer to lift herself out of poverty. And we will do for millions of farmers just like her what Alibaba did for manufacturers in China. This very phone will soon be given for free to a farmer in Ethiopia or New Guinea, and it may just be the most life-changing possession that she ever owns, but it is clearly no ordinary phone. There are thousands, in fact millions of good organizations trying to support and work with last-mile communities, but they struggle to connect with these people efficiently. And that's what iGunity does, connects them to the last mile with this. Our phone changes farmers' lives because we've rethought it from the ground up. We've solved the key challenges that a simple app or normal Android phone cannot. And this includes a user experience for people with low literacy and no prior experience with technology, solving remote connectivity in rural regions, and securely recording transactions on blockchain. iGunity improves trust and cooperation between farmers, buyers, and cooperatives. And by cooperating better, many of our farmers have increased their income by up to 3 times in a single season. Once we made a phone that was relevant and useful for the farmers, we discovered that a vast number of organizations would pay us to give farmers free phones, not as a charity, but because they have a genuine ROI. This includes organizations selling products and services to the last mile, banks providing financial inclusion, commodity buyers such as Fairtrade, and of course NGOs that are already spending millions of dollars and need better transparency. We've completed 7 successful projects around the world and have a huge pipeline of new projects. And we've just confirmed our 3 biggest ever projects, including deploying to thousands of Fairtrade coffee farmers across 4 countries. USAID has just funded a new project in Kenya where we'll be integrating with M-Pesa. And World Food Programme has asked for an identical Ethiopia-like project for the African Centre of Excellence in Luxor. We collect some small subscription and transaction fees from the farmers, but we already have over €750,000 in annual project revenue from companies that are paying us to connect them to the farmers. We are being paid to become the Alibaba for farmers so they can sell produce locally and commodities globally for a fair price. In a few years, we will have this opportunity locked down in multiple countries and can collect a substantial commission on billions of dollars of trade. And we have also adapted and licensed our tech for Australian wool growers, fish and red meat provenance, and a fresh produce tracking project for a €30 billion retail chain. And this solution that we've been working on for 4 years only needed a small pivot to play a vital role in ensuring fresh food supply during the pandemic. COVID-19 is causing the worst food crisis of a generation, and many struggling countries may fail. And governments are facing a horrible choice. Lock down and you kill the economy, create unrest, food shortages, and people may starve. But don't lock down and you have deaths from the virus, overwhelm the medical system, and become socially isolated. iGunity offers a third option: allow food markets to remain open while the food supply chain is operating and farmers continue to earn. We already have 5 COVID-specific proposals as part of our iGunity response, including one for €6 million. And we have just confirmed funding for a new project in Uganda, working with commercial agriculture for smallholders and agribusinesses, covering 100,000 smallholder farmers. We have an incredible and diverse team with deep experience in technology, farming, sustainable development, and operations. And our executive team have decades of experience in their respective areas. Our founding CEO, David Davies, grew up on a farm and worked in senior executive roles in investment banking, technology, including Goldman Sachs and Lehman, and has previously founded 2 successful startups in Japan and Singapore that were both acquired. And we have won numerous awards and been studied and recognized by many leading NGOs, universities, and others as a leading model of positive impact technology. Up to 2018, we raised about €600,000. And last year we had about 750,000 of real revenue and we didn't need to raise funding. This year we have around known revenue of over 1.5 million, and to keep growing we are raising €3 million as part of a Series A, starting with a safe note for 400,000. In 2020, our focus is on improving farmer lives. We have good project revenue and we can help keep the food supply moving through the pandemic. Next year, as we hit series scale in many of our projects, and with thousands of users, our revenue will increase from transaction and subscription fees. But by 2023, we will have evolved into a global food marketplace, doing for small farmers what Alibaba did for manufacturers in China. And by doing so, millions of people will escape poverty. I'm Angus Keck, CEO of Agility, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Angus. Who's got the first question? Abdullah?
Thanks for that presentation, Angus. Can you talk a bit more about the applications that are loaded onto the phone? So you mentioned banking. Are there any other what are the core functions that this free phone kind of comes with?
Yeah, so I think the best way to describe it, when we set out, it was just kind of a basic Android app, and then we're now on our version 3, and so now it's much more like what's called a super app platform. So like WeChat or Facebook, where there is core features that we offer the farmers, such as digital identity, secure transactions, planning, marketplace, etc. But we can actually deploy third-party applets remotely to the platform, again, akin to the App Store or the Play Store. Including financial services. It could be education, learning modules. It could be, effectively there's anything that could be deployed. But our focus has been primarily on commodity buyers, financial institutions, and then people like solar lighting providers and NGOs.
Come on, Angus stayed until 4 a.m. Nico, and then Trang.
Nice job on the pitch, and thank you for staying up late or getting up early to give it. Amazing that you did such a good job on the pitch, despite the fact that you're not the CEO of the company. So I would assume you've done this quite a few times before. So it's for me, as a board member, investor in a number of companies, it's great to see other members of the executive team beyond the CEO be able to eloquently tell the story. So nice work there. My question is more around the go-to-market. It sounds like from a far complex one. How do you guys prioritize? Because you can get lost in the world of NGO, lost in smaller countries that over time won't matter much. How do you think about building a repeatable go-to-market process?
Yeah, it's a great question because it's something that we've thought about a lot. Look, the truth is we've been very opportunistic in how we've gone to market to date. It's been, where's the funding, where's the money, where's the partner? But what we're seeing is kind of a natural consolidation around a country as we start to grow. So I'll give you one quick example. We did a project with the UN World Food Programme in Ethiopia with coffee smallholders, and it was just a 12-month pilot project. And we did it. We'd never been to Ethiopia before. We had one team member who had done some work there, so we said, let's do it. We launched, we learned a lot. It was pretty hectic, but we successfully completed that project. We had really good outcomes. And then following that, or during that, we actually received another project in the northern part of the country to work with a cooperative with 120,000 farmer members. And we would never have gotten that if we didn't make the decision to start at least with the pilot. And we also then received follow-on funding to do a 24-month extension of the project we were already doing in Ethiopia. We have one other project that's coming up. So it's kind of the case of, at the beginning, we've kind of just seeded ourselves in lots of different areas. But now that we're there, and there's not really anyone else doing what we're doing, we're being approached to kind of do new projects or scale up existing projects. We do kind of have a partnership model. So we really, lean heavily on organizations like Fair Trade International, who I think are in 80 countries. We're kind of doing a project with them at the moment that will become a template for their 1.7 million farmers worldwide. So again, we partner with the people who have existing relationships and connections with the farmers, but they're just missing this really significant gap, which is technology.
Awesome. Thanks, Trang. You had a question?
Yes, and congratulations. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Yeah, perfect. Congratulations. It's great presentation. And especially at 4 a.m. your time. My question is actually around the competitive landscape. So who do you consider as your competitor? I know that you mentioned there's no real tech players in the space at the moment, but I'm sure that in your mind, maybe there's some kind of like traditional incumbents that are in the space. So I would love to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, look, I mean, for a long time, like a lot of startups, we pitch, we have no known competitors and we're the only people around. But the truth is, there's always someone doing something kind of similar, if maybe not the same thing. I guess one example of someone I would consider maybe, good, I guess, competitor, or not competitor, but someone to provide context is FarmForce. So FarmForce was originally started by a very giant fertilizer company, and it was really a way of them being able to better manage their farmers. And so FarmForce are in a number of countries that we operate in as well. But again, the key differentiator, like the thing that most people have stayed away from because they're too afraid of doing it, is we've developed a solution that goes to the very end, to the very last mile, that actually goes to the farmer and puts the technology in the farmer's hand. So with FarmForce, they rely on an agent model, which is the prevailing model for most of these companies. Now they're starting to realize that technology price is at a level where you can actually put it in the farmer's hand. But what they haven't done is actually spent the time with the farmer to go, you use the FarmForce app or any of these kind of similar agent apps. They're designed for someone who's semi-literate, who's semi-educated, who has a bit of an understanding of technology. They're not designed for someone who's literally never used a smartphone before and someone who never has connectivity. So we kind of see ourselves as just kind of being that next step ahead of, I guess, existing tech companies. But there are other technology companies, and I suspect as we continue to grow, we will also draw people into our space.
Thanks so much. It was okay. David, do you have one more question?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Really glad to see you guys working on something that's really impacting people's lives. I just wanted to understand the product a little better. This is an app that basically connects farmers to different services. And so you're kind of like almost like a marketplace for, like, on one hand, providers like M-Pesa and others. On the other hand, you have the farmers, and you're just basically connecting them through a user-friendly interface. Is that the right way of thinking?
That's probably the perfect way of thinking about it, is that effectively we're trying to bridge this gap between farmers who are currently have no digital connection or no connection to these, a massive amount of services, and then all these service providers who are trying to increase their consumer base or reach these types of users, but they have no way of doing so from a technology perspective. So yes, that's exactly what we aim to do.
Okay, got it. And so how many farmers are there today in your app?
So we're supporting, so the partners that we're working with, as well as farmers directly, represent around 220,000 farmers. But that's not all farmers with phones in their hand. We're still in actually smaller amounts for actual farmers with phones. But I guess we have a kind of two-tiered approach. One is where we work with the farmers directly, put a phone in their hand. That's kind of like from the ground up. We also have kind of from the top down where we work. So for example, in Uganda, we're working with 8 agribusinesses who represent 100,000 smallholder farmers. So we're supporting the businesses first. That's kind of stage 1. And then stage 2 is deploying the phones to the farmers.
Okay. But approximately 220,000 farmers, are they using it every month?
No, so it's very, very dependent.
How many monthly active users do you have?
Well, it's a good question, and I don't actually know off the top of my head, but I can tell you after the pitch. And the only reason is we've just brought online 2 new projects, and one of them is very significant. So the actual number of users has just changed.
Okay. And I also wanted to ask, like, is there any technology or intellectual property here?
Yeah, so in terms of patents and IP, we haven't got any patents. It's really just kind of industry knowledge, or industry secret, sorry. But from in terms of technology, so what we have are very rugged IP68 certified smartphones. So they're shockproof, waterproof, dustproof. We don't make them. We just buy them in bulk out of China for very, very low cost. And then we've kind of got basically an Android super app and a customized operating system. So we preload these phones. We've kind of tweaked the operating system so that we can kind of manage the transaction protocol when farmers are not online. So they basically can queue all the transactions, and then when a farmer gets like 1 bar of connectivity, it'll prioritize our transactions, send them to the cloud, and reconcile them in the database.
So you're actually providing phones to farmers, not just the app.
We are. At the moment, we are currently providing both the hardware and the software, but we know that over time that model will likely change. I mean, we're going to have a version that's on the Play Store that anyone can download. But again, right now, the key is these people have no ability to download anything. They don't have a device. And there are actually people willing to pay us to roll out the hardware and the technology to the farmers. So we're being seeded in these markets to actually work with the farmers and then grow our clientele.
I see. So do the unit economics make sense, or are you just getting sort of like grants to roll this out?
So really, really good question, and really important to emphasize. So it's not. So we have had grants in the past, and World Food Program was one of our first, and that was a grant. But we're actually getting paid by businesses to roll out to their farmers. So Fair Trade is a commodity buyer, and they're paying us to roll out because they need the data and the transparency and the communications with their farmers. So for them, the ROI of having to pay €30 for one device for one farmer that's going to last 4 or 5 years is nothing compared to the net benefit per farmer that they get from that.
All right.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Angus. There were a lot of questions. David, please, if you could mute your mic, because we have a bit of echo. Excellent. Thank you. So thanks again, Angus. Great presentation. You can go to bed if you'd like, or keep watching. We have 3 more startups. See you soon. Thanks a lot, Angus.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye. So for our next startup is coming from Israel. They want to help us understand our market, our competitors, and our customer foot traffic. It's a startup built by a serial entrepreneur. I'd like to introduce Dan, CEO and co-founder of PlaySense. Welcome, Dan.
Hi, thank you for having me. Good evening, good morning, good night for everyone. Let's just make sure. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'll start. So hi, my name is Dan Gildoni, and I'm co-founder and CEO of PlaySense. As mentioned, I am a serial entrepreneur coming mainly from the online world. The one interesting thing about the online world is that it is a very metric-driven world. And the idea behind PlaySense, we're actually bringing these metrics and methodologies and introducing them to the physical world. Now, when I say physical world, I'm referring to any type of business which is relying on physical foot traffic. Anywhere from a mall, a restaurant, any kind of grocers or commercial real estate. It seems that all of these entities up to now have been basing their insights, their decision, their information, mainly on gut feelings, by sending out surveys, in some cases laser counters, but in most of the cases, just having a guy like this standing in a street corner and counting the people, and in some cases asking them questions, is the way they make decisions of hundreds of billions of euros. And that's exactly what we're changing at PlaySense. At PlaySense, we will start bringing data that is all based on this powerful sensor that all of you have in your pockets. We started 2 years ago with a pre-seed investment from Enogy, the largest energy company in Europe, together with Nielsen Research. And since then, we're currently already covered with 30 million devices. 30 million devices that serve us with daily active information. Now, this information is all brought with partnerships that we created with GPS-based apps. Apps that you all have on your phones, right? You have phones that are free. You have apps that are free on your phone. And the way for these free apps to make a living is by monetizing on the data. Now, this is nothing new. Apps have been monetizing on data for years. But what has dramatically changed, definitely in Europe, are the privacy regulations. The privacy regulations that made it almost impossible for these apps to make a living. But for us at PlaySense, a huge opportunity because we solved the privacy issue. Let's look at this picture. Think about every one of these pictures as a data set. We understand that just taking these pieces of data, aggregating and anonymizing them is actually not enough, because there are enough use cases that show how you can anyway reveal information that way. With that, we created a proprietary algorithm that we call contextual privacy. And what we can do with contextual privacy is actually completely sterilize the data. We can now make personal data into non-personal data by totally disconnecting any kind of data to their individual. But we can do that without jeopardizing the statistical model. So in a way, we solve the privacy paradox. We're serving information that comes from individuals, but there's no ability to understand who they are. We have consent, we have the devices, then the data is crunched into a variety of different machine learning data sets that bring us with very valuable insights. And as we can see in this case, for example, we looked at a mall which is located outside of Berlin. We were asked to look at this mall to compare it with another mall. This is an investment case, a repurposing case, and we were asked to bring all the information we can. So starting off, we understand the catchment area. We understand the customer journey. Where do they come from? From what neighborhoods do they come? Where do they work? What is the point of interest that they visited before? And where are they going after? And as we do not need any kind of relationship with those entities, we can look at your location or any competing location with the same granularity. We then deep dive and understand things like, for example, retention. How often do they come back? Who is a new visitor? Who's returning? And once they come back, how long do they actually spend in that location? Part of the insights we create are based on these intents, for example. Let's say that someone is spending less than 15 minutes in a location. In a retail location, it means that they did not come for a retail purpose, and they shouldn't be counted. We know things like languages, so predominantly German, of course, in this area, but many other languages. And we understand things like shopping behavior, genders, ages, and have the ability to extrapolate the data and bring an accurate footfall count with historical data of a year down to the granularity of every 2 hours. In the past 2 years, the company has been alive. We've managed to capture a lot of data, build robust tech, go into projects with some of the leading retailers, real estate, and consultancy firms. And all of this is thanks to a very strong founding team, my partners. Starting with Avi, my co-founder, who comes from a background of app monetization, leading sales teams and data monetization of hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Eyal Langsner, a serial entrepreneur himself, leading the data. Omer on the financial side with a strong data team, both in Israel and in Germany, which is our initial target market. We're currently raising our seed round with a target of 2 million euros, out of which a safe was already created for half of that amount a few weeks ago. Very happy to answer any questions you may have, and of course, have you join our journey. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Dan, for your presentation. Who would like to go first?
Just wondering how this product compares to some of the other kind of similar things that have been in the market before, like a Nomi or a place meter. Like, how do you differentiate yourself by, when you're using sort of commodity data from location data from applications?
So I'll differentiate in two ways. Most of the companies that you've mentioned and most of the competitors currently are competitors that are working in the US or North America, outside of Europe, where there are still no strict regulations about how data can be handled. That means that up to now, capturing data was a pretty easy mission, where consent was not really needed, and you could use even bitstream data for marketing purposes, etc. The reason we started in Germany is because Germany is known to be the most strict as far as data privacy is concerned. And the idea was, if we can do this in Germany, we can do the same anywhere else. Now, data is definitely a commodity. But what we do with the data is where we differentiate. Our ability to bring insights and to create accurate information based on this data is part of what we do, and also part of what we have based our patents on. The ability to make these predictions, profiles, and protect the data is a very big differentiator.
Thank you. Okay. I want to ask a question myself. Yeah, Abdullah, please.
Yeah, sorry, I had a bit of technical issues. You may have mentioned this, but my connection dropped out for a minute there. So where exactly are the like what are the data streams that you use as feeders for this?
So we actually partner up with app developers. We partner up with app developers that up to now were able to monetize on their data with advertising capabilities. And now that that's stopped definitely in Europe, we just pay the app developers to get data from them, and now they can do it without jeopardizing their business in any way whatsoever.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
So of your initial, like, who do you view as your initial kind of target market? Is it individual retailers, or is it more like commercial real estate developers like malls? And then for whomever it is, what is the most like killer, product or feature of your product, and what is the decision that they're making with it? Thank you.
So I guess to summarize it, we currently see that the strongest market actually comes from the consultancy firms. The consultancy firms on all sides, the real estate ones, and the KPMGs of this world. Currently, the strongest is what we've seen with the pandemic, the need to reassess everything that's going on and repurpose commercial real estate. Everything goes down into retail. It could be grocers that are taking advantage and actually looking to expand into locations that are closing down and want to get an understanding what happened with these locations a year ago. Or on the other side, unfortunately, companies that are closing down and want to understand where they should start. Where do they have the ability of actually closing down a store that may be redundant? So expansion purposes and indexes are currently the main things that we're doing around catchment area and, of course, repurposing.
Thanks so much. Any other questions, guys? If not, I would like to say thank you, Dan, for that presentation. We will see you soon.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Awesome. So I'm going to invite our next startup, which is coming from the USA. Thank God for virtual stuff. We can have basically have startups from everywhere. I saw that David dropped out. Maybe our colleagues can help him come back. So I would like to welcome Lorena, who's the CEO and co-founder of Diam Life, a centralized diabetes management solution. Welcome, Lorena. You have the floor.
Thank you. All right. Does everyone see my screen?
Yep. Perfect.
Perfect. So a pleasure, everyone. My name is Lorena. I'm the CEO of Diam. It's a centralized diabetes management solution for diabetics, doctors, parents, and caregivers. And to share a little bit of my story and how it is that we started Diam, I'm actually the mother of 2 type 1 diabetic boys. I also lost my grandmother to type 2 diabetes. And after working years in technology and working B2B and talking to doctors and talking to parents and more diabetics, we were able to identify a massive opportunity to really do things differently than how current companies are doing it. And that's really how Diam started. So a little bit just to give you scope as to how large the diabetes sector is. There's over 463 million diabetics globally, and that number is expected to grow to 51% over the next 25 years. So it's very large, it's very fragmented. It's part of the reason why there's so many additional problems associated with diabetes. And to kind of share a little bit as to what those are, first of all, diabetes is a minute-to-minute disease, which means that you have no breaks. This is every hour, every second of your life. In addition, there's roughly 24 plus algebraic equations that you need to be doing every second to calculate carb to insulin ratio and corrections and a lot more. In addition, insulin is life, which means if you don't get insulin, you die. Furthermore, there's a lot of devices, there's a lot of supplies. I can't even tell you how full my fridge is or how many medicine cabinets I have. But let's just say it's a very, very intense disease when it comes to inventory and the management part. In addition, and one of the saddest parts of diabetes is the fact that it has a lot of high comorbidities. And what that means is that there's a lot of kidney disease, heart disease, amputations, and even death associated to diabetes. One of the things that, you know, in our search and we were investigating and doing our research over the last year that we found was that there was little to no timely communication with doctors. And part of the reason that this was happening, and I'll speak of the US specifically, is because we have a shortage of doctors. There's 6,500 endocrinologists in the US and over 34 million diabetics. And this number globally, by the way, is a lot more diverse. So it's a huge problem. In fact, because of this, we find that 93% of diabetics don't effectively know how to manage and control their diabetes. So those high comorbidities I was speaking to you of, this is part of the reason why they exist, is because of this lack of management and control. In addition, doctors are also losing money and a lot more. And part of the reason for that is because of the limited engagement. Diabetes is a type of disease that, unfortunately, doctors are only able to see their patients every 3 to 4 months. And it's a very reactive disease. So what that means is the doctor's actually talking to the patient about what's happened to them over the last 3 to 4 months. And that has actually increased ER visits significantly, over 16 million in the US just last year alone. In addition, they're losing revenue. There's paper and pen logs. Doctors are actually telling their patients to complete a form or a sheet and send it to them every single week with different numbers, which makes it a very manual process both for the doctor and also for the diabetic. In addition, we have a lack of system integrations, and I'll delve into this more in a little bit so you can understand it. That's part of the reason why we created DM. DM is really a centralized hub for connecting the doctor and the patients together. In addition, it connects parents, caregivers, and other stakeholders associated to the diabetic or the patient's life. Now, to talk a little bit more about the system itself. We have here on the left side is our app, which, as you can see, it connects to diabetic devices through the use of Internet of Things. On the right side, we have our back office web, which is connected to the doctors or the hospital's medical EHR systems. And DM really works in the center by connecting them together and having all this information flow in real time and continuously and automatically. In addition, our app has 5 unique proprietary and 20 key features. On the back office side, we have a patient CRM, analytics dashboard, reports, and advanced care modules that enhance the patient-to-doctor experience. We use, and before I even do that, one of the really unique and sort of amazing things about what we're building is the fact that we're actually using neuropsychology, deep brain science, and contextual AI to increase both compliance and behavior change for our patients. So we're actually working with them in creating behavior habits that increase their compliance so that reduces comorbidities and problems in the long term. In addition, we're looking to optimize management and control. Again, this is a daily disease, so these are things that we really want to enhance on. Furthermore, we have a hub for education tools and resources, which unfortunately, many a times, endocrinologists as well as other specialists send diabetics to go to YouTube or to go to different resources. So there's no centralized location for diabetics really to go to. In addition, we're looking at next generation engagement with regards to how can we enhance their experience so they really are participant and involved in what's happening within their care. We're also offering real-time communication, automated reporting and alerts, and we're also providing continuous connection to the specialists, the doctors, and the diabetic educators who are part of this sort of learning and education that is part of their life. When it comes to the doctor, and we are a B2B business, so for diabetics, we actually are completely free. But for the doctors, really, we were trying to see how can we increase their revenue? How can we offer them a proactive solution that advances the care of that patient? How can we improve communication? And more importantly, how can we optimize clinical support? So these are some of the key elements to what we're offering and how we're going to enhance that experience. Now, we are raising $1 million. We have a committed amount of $150,000. We also have invested around $55,000 of our own funds into the business. We have a total addressable market in the diabetes digital space of around $26.4 billion. And that's just a small fraction of the very large segment that we can actually enter into. Furthermore, the proceeds that we're looking to generate are focused on R&D, our go-to-market strategy, and our MVP development. Now, to talk to you a little bit about our traction and what we've achieved so far, we actually have a validated behavior model that's been proven with 80,000 people. Furthermore, we started software development earlier this year. We have about 110 Alpha app users signed, and we've been engaging with a lot of different users through social media and more, so that we can really start getting that engagement and that interest. We also recently got our preliminary pitch approval with the National Science Foundation for the SBIR grant for $256,000. And we've also already identified several U.S. hospitals where we're going to be doing our proof of concept and our pilot, which we're really excited about because that's really going to help us in achieving now that implementation within the hospital setting. To talk a little bit about our team, first I'll mention Nicole, who's our CMO. She has a chemical engineering background, has worked in the pharmaceutical industry for several years, and has owned a marketing firm for several years and also worked in the B2B sector. I've worked for many years in pharma and in healthcare. I have management, sales, business development, and experience. Angel is our CTO, and he has a team of engineers and developers that are working with us in developing our software. Dennis Rodman, 45 years over healthcare experience. He's actually been a healthcare advisor to 10 White House commissions on health, written 11 books on healthcare. And Bob Riley's also a huge impact advisor for us because he works with us on the neuropsychology and behavior component of our software. And he's actually been a former president of television, Warner Television, and other businesses that have used behavior to really change medicine and other sectors and other industries.
Lorena,
and that's a little bit about DM. I welcome any questions.
Okay, so you exceeded the time quite a lot. So David, please, can you mute your laptop? I think it's the one that's causing the echo. Please, if you can. I don't know if David can hear us. So yeah, we have time for one or two questions. Who wants to go at it? Right?
Howdy. Hi, Lorena.
Hi.
Thank you for the presentation. Just trying to understand, are you providing your own EHR to the doctors, or are you integrating with their existing ones? And then if so, like what is the actual business model? I don't know if I missed it in there. Are you is it like a SaaS fee to the doctors? And if so, how are you pricing it?
So thank you for the question. We are a B2B business. We're actually integrating into the hospital and the doctor's EHR systems. Right now, our pricing averages roughly between $10 to $15 per diabetic member. So that means that any, dependent on the number of patients that they're going to be bringing into our system that are going to be working with us, that's how we pretty much charge. So we're looking at about an average, yes, about $10 to $15 per patient.
Cool.
Hi.
Hi.
How do you think about like the competitive landscape, especially given that there are some public companies and telehealth is all the rage. Like you're young entrant, how can you level up and the well-funded players?
Thank you, Nico, for the question. That was something that we looked into a lot because there's no point in starting a business if there's a lot of competitors. We really wanted to make sure we were different. And the one thing that for us was the element that really differentiated us to our competitors was that behavior component of how it is we're using behavior within digital health to be able to increase that compliance for the patient so that care is improved. We looked at businesses like Livongo, for example, who has a niche focus on employer benefits and who also taps into right now at less than 1% of the total diabetes population in the US. We looked at other businesses both globally and in the US. And really, I think when we did the overall analysis, we saw that there was an opportunity for us because of the fact that we had a sort of a three-prong approach to our sales strategy and how it was that we were going to achieve this in a way that was very unique, very different, and that was actually helping both the doctor and the patient in a way that can really leverage that user base that we needed and that can provide us with that sort of forecasted sales that we were considering.
All right. If there's any other questions, I'll take one last one if you'd like. Guys, no? Yeah, David, please.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks a lot for the presentation. My question is, how do consumers get the app?
So there's several ways in which the consumer can get the app. Number one, it is going to be available in the App Store for them to download. We're actually partnering with several of the diabetic organizations within the US. So those organizations are also going to be able to provide the app and offer incentives for the app. So organizations like American Diabetes, JDRF, amongst others. That's one part. The second is obviously the app, directly them downloading it. The third is the doctor themselves. When we actually contact the hospital or the medical group and we offer them this opportunity, we're actually going to be rolling out the app through an invite that's going to come directly from the doctor or the medical group to all of their patients. So when we did an analysis of the normal number of diabetic patients with each member group, we're looking at about anywhere from 50 to 100,000 per medical group or per hospital. So for us, it's a win-win for both sides because of the cost, but more importantly also because of the size of the number of members. And we are B2B, so this is a free system for diabetics. So that's going to be a very attractive feature, understanding everything we're doing in behavior and how we can really help them in bettering their health.
Thanks a lot, Lorena. Thank you for joining from the US.
Thank you.
Great presentation. We will see you later. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So our fifth and final startup, because we've been to Australia, we've been to the US, now we're going to Canada. So our final startup is coming from Canada, and it's making the world a better place by developing sustainable tailings treatment to help restore ponds into thriving habitats. Welcome, Shahrukh, the CEO and co-founder of Envicor. Welcome, Shahrukh.
Hi, thanks, Sergio. I guess you can hear me properly.
Perfect.
Great. So I'm going to start my presentation. Really excited to be here. So hello, my name is Shahrukh Shameen, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Envicor. And we are accelerating the transformation of mine tailing ponds into a thriving habitat. Mineral extraction and the oil production are major resource extraction activities, which involves excavation of large amount of waste rock to remove the desired mineral ore. Now, this ore is then crushed into fine equal slurry from which the raw materials such as metal or oil are extracted through a series of mineral processing steps. However, the extraction operations generate exponential amount of wastewater, or commonly known as tailings, that are stored in open containment areas called tailing ponds. In Canada alone, the oil sand tailings cover a distilled land of 250 square kilometers and store enough of water to fill over 18 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. and has adverse ecosystem effects due to their toxicity. Now, the commercially available treatment technologies span from coagulation to flocculation and using salt agents to mechanical operations such as filtration and centrifugation. However, all the developed treatments are in most cases very energy intensive and too costly. And again, while the poor solid liquid separation achieved contributes to the unsustainable recovery of the disturbed land, which takes more than 20 to 30 years for a complete transformation from a disturbed landmass to reclaimed and trafficable land. My name is Shahrukh Shamim, and I took upon this challenge during my master's program at the University of Calgary, Canada, and invented a solution that changes everything. At NVCore, we provide the fastest transformation technology in the world. Our treatment solutions for the hard rock and the oil sand industry takes only 5 years to clean up the toxic tailings following the treatment. The technology centers around environmentally friendly chemicals dosed into the tailings through simple mixing steps. The process is easily retrofittable and entails no additional capital investment as the existing tailings facility on the client sites can be utilized. In addition, the process offers 60% of the operational expense reduction based on the low cost of the used chemical agents by us. Due to the specific chemistry behind the treatment, the efficient solid liquid separation can easily be achieved, whereby we recover 60% more water than our competitors for the recycle operations and minimizing the intake of fresh water for the extraction operations. With the process advantages presented and close to 2,000 active tailing ponds around the world, NVCore's technology are targeting a total market estimated at $30 billion. Out of this size, our immediate obtainable market is measured at $1.7 billion and mostly covers the cost of chemical treatment of the tailings. Specific to one oil sand tailings pond that is situated at Horizon mine site in northern Alberta, Canada, around 72 million tons of tailings are produced every year. Operational expenses of current technology to treat this amount of tailings is close to $42 million on an annual basis. But with NVCore's technology, we will solve the problem in $18 million, leading to a savings of $24 million on an annual basis. Also, current technologies take 30 years to transform the land back to its natural habitat. But with our disruptive process, we can achieve the transformation in just 5 years. Now, to capture the market, we will implement a business model combining the treatment technology licensing to the end user in both the sectors and licensing to the chemical manufacturing company, given that we are using commercially available treatment chemicals that are available in all the developed nations. On our development route so far, we have raised more than $270,000 in non-dilutive funding and signed the agreement with our first client in the hard rock sector on the joint technology development. Going forward, we envision undergoing small-scale pilot testing by the fourth quarter of this year and a field-scale retrofit in the third quarter of next year, and revenue generation in the range of $7 million on an annual basis in the first quarter of 2022. Now, to successfully deploy our technologies, we have gathered a team of diverse background in business and technology development, financial management. Along with me, the team consists of my Chief Technical Officer, Chief Innovation Officer, Scientific Director, and an Executive Advisor. The team brings vast experience in technology commercialization and executing robust business models. In order to achieve the set goal within the next 18 months, we are currently raising $400,000, out of which $75,000 is already committed by an angel investor. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation and thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Shahrukh. Very interesting presentation. Who wants to go first? Questions?
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah. So thanks for the presentation. So does this only target oil sand treatment from that, or does it also target like produced water from other sources?
So till now, we haven't diverged from our focus into produced water, but that may be of interest later on once we are ending up developing and commercializing our tailings treatment technology. since both of the problems are a little bit different and in basically in principle nature, if you talk about the problem, it's significantly different in the produced water than the tailings. So right now, the tailings in hard rock and the oil sand are major focus right now. And then also one aspect of a technology is to promote circular economy of repurposing tailings into something useful. And we are also working with some companies in the mining sector to develop a technology and then successfully implement it.
And kind of tangential follow-up there. So the chemical, let's say, formula that you've come up with, how defensible is that?
That's a great question, and we hear this every time. So we have filed a patent that recently got approved by the United States Patent Office, and now we are filing 3 different patents on the improvement and the hard rock mining sector as well. Right now, we are engaged with our mentor at Creative Destruction Lab, Ms. Deborah Peacock, who is an intellectual property expert based out of New Mexico, USA. And she is a veteran in the mining sector and knows the area pretty well. And she's helping us in drafting the patent in a manner that nobody, or at least it will be very difficult to circumvent it. And we'll basically taking all the measures in making sure that we know combination, the dosage and everything mentioned in a very proper manner so that nobody can bypass it.
David, please mute. Thank you. All right. Trang, you had a question.
Congrats on building this very sustainable, great mission of building a sustainable solutions. My question is that you are raising 400,000, right? And is that like it can be like what is your burn right now, and where is this 400,000 will get you to?
Sure, that's a great question. So right now our burn rate is around 11 to 12,000 US dollars per month, and that major portion is going into the salary side and the R&D side, basically procuring chemicals and materials, and then performing the research and development in our lab. But the remaining 400,000 that we are raising right now, the major portion will go to leverage the non-dilutive funding that is offered by federal government of Canada to perform the pilot testing. For example, there are 2 other funding applications, that is Sustainable Development Technology Canada and Strategic Innovation Funds, that basically match 1:1 funding for a pilot. But in our case right now, the pilot stage that we're going to small scale pilot that we'll do in the 4th quarter of this year, it will be a paid pilot by the mining company that is right now we came into an agreement with for a joint technology development. So 60% of the $400,000 will go in the technology development, and then remaining of the fraction will go in basically protecting our intellectual properties through either patents or trademarks. And then some of it will go in hiring the key talents, for example, in the sales channel, in the technology development channel, and the business channel as well.
Thank you.
Great.
Welcome.
David, did you have a question? I thought he had a question. Who else? No one? Brett. Okay, Brett, go ahead.
Great presentation. Thank you so much. Just trying to understand kind of like how you envision the business model here. Is it a portion of cost savings? Is it a license? And then, how is that value? I guess my main questions are like, how do you accelerate time to value for these contracts? Thank you.
Thanks, Robert, for asking. So right now, the whole business model is the licensing one, where now, as I mentioned, one case of oil sand mine at the Horizon site, we are saving around $24 million if we just transform or change the current technology with our process, basically not changing any capital investment or the existing facility, just utilizing everything and retrofitting it. So the major revenue from our side will be just taking 10% of that savings and then licensing the technology to them. The second aspect is right now the technology or basically solves a liability issue. Now, this liability right now for the oil sand industries, I'm just talking about the oil sand because hard rock is significantly higher. For oil sand, it's just $26 billion presently, and by 2050, it's going to go up to $260 billion. So what we are giving them is, first of all, we are accelerating their whole liability problem, and we are trying to solve it at a lower cost, what they are doing right now. And at the same time, we are extracting some valuables from these tailings that has a huge potential in some other industries, such as even in oil and gas for enhanced oil recovery, for drilling fluid, and for any other commercial activity, as well as a construction or in the asphalt pavement. So from that perspective, we are creating an incentive to these companies so that they can solve this problem relatively quicker, because it's going to give them twofold effect. First, it's going to improve their social license to operate, because it's becoming a really major concern it's a big engineering, economic, and environmental concern to the operators. And at the same time, monetize the tailings in a manner so that they can make money out of their liability. And that's exactly what happens with BHP, which is a leading mining company for copper and zinc commodity. And they recently laid out a challenge that talks about how they can repurpose the tailings, and they're inviting companies to contribute in that. So from that perspective, we are positioning our value proposition, and from that is just the licensing. Similarly, since we are using commercially available reagents, we are fairly certain that if we partner with any chemical manufacturing company such as BASF, then it just creates a very streamlined channel for us to deploy our technology and accelerate the whole timeline, value to money. And we are already in discussion with them. An initial preliminary discussion is going on in a technology due diligence, and later on it can be developed into some better relationship.
Great, thank you. Very interesting. Very interesting startup. So, any other questions? Are we okay? Everybody is happy. Perfect. Thank you very much, Shahrukh. It's great. It was great. You were the final startup for this session. So thank you. David. David is back. David, did you have a question?
No, I'm having some technical difficulties. I keep on getting kicked off this thing at Hopin. But anyways, the little that I heard, it sounded very cool, and so I'm gonna research a little more about Envicor.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome.
That would be great. We'd be really happy.
Thanks.
Great. So thanks a lot, Shahrukh. This was, as I said, the final startup of this second session. Shahrukh, we will see you soon. I would like to stay 5 more minutes with the judges. You guys are all investors. You have a bird's eye view of whatever is going on in the world right now, at least more than we do. And I would like to ask each of you to take the context of everything that's happened this year and leave the audience with something, whatever comes to mind. We have entrepreneurs in the audience. We have people that want to start their own startups. Just something from your thoughts about, tech, what's been going on this year. Just leave them with something. And I will start with Brett, if that's okay, from the top down. And
I don't know. I guess my main takeaway from this is just how the amazingness of entrepreneurs getting out and waking up at 4 a.m. to make pitches across the world, and fighting through technical difficulties. It's really not easy to engage with your audience in this format. So more power to them. And it's just a constant reminder that whenever you think all the opportunities are swallowed up, I feel like non-entrepreneurs are sitting home and wondering when the world's going to go back to normal, and entrepreneurs are creating the new normal. So, inspiring. Thank you for having me.
That's really awesome. Thanks for being with us, Trang.
Thank you for having me today. And, first of all, I want to thank Vlad and Sergio for hosting the summit. Second, I want to congrats to all of the entrepreneurs who present today from, all different time zones. I think, those are amazing pitch and, congratulations on, building something significant. I think just one thing that, I want to highlight just, because of COVID-19 is that, from an investor standpoint, we continue to see, very high quality in terms of deal flows. And, like echo to Brad when he said, for people who are not entrepreneurs, they are waiting to come back to work. But, for entrepreneurs, you guys are disrupt, well, what is changing now? The other thing that I want to just want to talk a little bit more about TI platform management, since, the audience, there's maybe a lot of proven entrepreneur. So we back and anchor a lot of entrepreneurs who, want to create a studio ventures, accelerator. We involve formation of entrepreneur first, and, hey, involved in the formation of 10 studio ventures to date with very amazing proven entrepreneurs, like, for example, Jeff Cutterton, the founder of Acon, that I had a fireside chat online. We also give capital for, amazing proven entrepreneurs who invest in, a seed stage as well. So ping us at investment@tiplatform.vc if you are looking for, funding, or, if you're looking for, if you are looking to create the next studio ventures, or, the next venture. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. So there's opportunities. Until now, you could money was very geographical. Only you could maybe raise money from Romania and Eastern Europe. But look, now you can expand. Nico, something for the audience of Romanian entrepreneurs, and not only that.
Yeah, so I want to echo Brad a little bit. I think now is a phenomenal time to be a founder, especially if you're outside of the Silicon Valley, because honestly, there is no leg up that Silicon Valley entrepreneurs have today. Everybody's Zoom away from each other. Like, I can't be in the local coffee shop in SF enjoying my blue bottle coffee, hanging out with other cool people, smoozing with all the awesome VCs, going into the right parties and overhearing what my competitors are doing. Like, none of that stuff exists. Everybody's working from home. So in particular, if you're like an out of geo founder, you have like a massive cost advantage over those of us in the Bay Area. And if you're like the kind of person who can cold email the universe, have high quality mentors, or at least one good one who is super well connected with the right people, you can do plenty of damage. So enjoy now that the field is really level, and seize the day.
Awesome advice. Totally agree with you, especially with Eastern European startups that sometimes feel that they're, disadvantaged. And now, as you said, the field is more level. Abdullah?
Yeah, I think I just want to echo the other judges' sentiments. The entrepreneurial spirit goes on, and change is a perfect time to build something. A time of a great change is probably the best time to build something new. It kind of clears out some incumbents and opens up new avenues, new niches to tackle. So yeah, we are still seeing amazing deal flow. We're just about to close cohort 3 of our accelerator program here in Oman, and a lot of wonderful clean tech and a lot of wonderful reg tech, energy tech that we're looking at. That's just as exciting as ever. So yeah, it's a good time to be an entrepreneur.
Awesome. Thank you. David?
I want to say that one of the things we've seen this year with COVID is that both the venture capital community and startups were unprepared to address the challenges posed this year by COVID. I mean, you had VCs investing in software, a little bit of hardware, a little bit of biotech, and there's like massive underfunding of companies that can actually transform society and create real social impact. And I think that's changing now, and I see a lot of funds flowing into things that are actually very, very impactful: healthcare, telemedicine, mental health, farming. And so I was inspired to see on our panel today, 3 companies that are addressing real social problems for a lot of people. Around diabetes, around farming in Africa, and around oil spills. All really interesting, and I hope we'll see more entrepreneurs working on sort of mission-driven, purpose-driven companies.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody, for those great words. Like very inspirational. I hope that today was great for everybody. You've seen a lot of great entrepreneurs, great pitches. They've worked their asses off, honestly, to be able to present the way they did. So they worked a lot in the past few days. So I would like to thank you guys for being here, being an inspiration. Thank you for the guys that have presented. Thank you for the people in the audience. The finals will be tomorrow at 4:20 p.m. So make sure you're back to see who's won. The judges will receive more information from Jennifer about how to judge and how to rate the startups. And thanks again to our sponsors, to Fortech and Roca X, for sponsoring the prize this year. And we'll all adapt. The field is more leveled, and we'll just do what entrepreneurs do, right? We'll just go, from failure to failure without losing our enthusiasm until we hit success. So all the best to you all. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. Cheers.